You're listening to the Ecosystem Support 360, a joint podcast to feature individuals, teams, governments, and ecosystems around the globe who are supporting innovation. I'm Andy from Foreign Founders. Today I'm tuning in from Denver, Colorado.
I'm Kevin from Shibula Ventures, tuning in from New York.
Please like and subscribe to this podcast and learn about the different opportunities available for your company, like the one shared in this episode today. And with that said, we're delighted to have Masa and Nikolai back from the city of Yokohama, based in New York City.
Just a reminder, City of Yokohama, with its 3 I's, as described in the last episode, the ideal location, innovation hub, and internationally active, is a sleeping giant for foreign startups and corporates alike, and it's only steps away from Tokyo. So then, why Yokohama? Today, we're going to have Masa and Nikolai talk about another cycle of Yokohama's matching initiative launched just a few days ago. Not to be biased, but I'm personally honored to have myself and Shibula Ventures as a program supporter. So, let's get right to some questions.
Yeah, congratulations on the launch, everyone. Yokohama Matching Program, what is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And again, thank you so much, Andy and Kevin, on behalf of Masa and myself. Thanks for having us again. We're happy to be back and talking about Yokohama. So the Yokohama Matching Program, we've run it in the past, last year, in a slightly different configuration. But essentially, what this program is it's a way for international companies to get their foot in the door in Japan. We've worked before with a lot of international companies that are looking to kind of establish a base in Japan for all the reasons we talked about in the last episode. Japan is such an amazing market, but there are hurdles, right? And so one of those hurdles, we have data that often foreign affiliated companies cite that gathering information about potential partners is a really common challenge. And so we wanted to make that easier. And essentially what this program is, it's an international companies can apply and describe to us their technologies, their solutions, and then we, along with our partners like Kevin and our other great partners on this program, will reach out to the Japan side, to the companies in Yokohama and other parts of Japan through our networks, and try to find the needs that match those companies that are coming in. So the companies that are chosen to participate in this program will get matched with a Japanese company or multiple Japanese companies that will be a good fit for their technology, their solution. And from there, it's really a case-by-case basis. But we help provide the networking and POC support, proof of concept support for their technology, which can be really valuable if it's the right fit for that technology. Making those business connections happen so that the rest of connecting and starting business in the Japanese market is a lot easier. Because getting that initial introduction, getting those conversations started is such a huge part of getting really connected to the Japanese business ecosystem.
And how long is this matching program, Nikolai?
How long is it? Yeah, like I said, we've done it last year, and we're the cohort that started last year is sort of working on the POCs that were through that program. Right now we're taking applications as of a few days ago, and those applications are going to be open until April 30th. And then what we're imagining is that based on the number of applicants, we'll be able to choose the companies that are going to be participating within 1 month. So you'll hear back, by, let's say, sometime in May of this year. And then from there, it is a case-by-case basis. It's hard to know exactly how long the business discussions will take, but we're, going to be connecting you with companies within this year. And then, we have to look to the future and sort of based on the success of this program, see how it'll evolve into the future. We could, it could be the case that we'll keep the company's applications on hand so that if we find new needs that come out of Yokohama companies in the future, we'll be able to have those companies' applications on hand and reach out and say, hey, is this still a good time? Are you still interested in Japan? Because we have a connection for you. So even if you're not chosen for this program, there's a chance that there will be some new opportunity in the future. So we're imagining it'll be something that continues on in the future, but that's sort of the general rough timeline for this year.
Got it. Well, for startups, definitely apply. I think it's a great program that Yokohama is initiating. With that said, maybe Masa, I'll just popcorn you. Can you tell us who may apply, what are some requirements? Are there any specific industries, stages of the companies, any locale or location requirements that are part of the application, please?
Yeah, thank you for the great questions. And I'm very pleased to be back to the podcast again. Thank you for that. So for the answer to that questions, our goal with the program is to maximize the opportunities for the participation. So we keep the eligibility criteria as open as possible. In terms of industry focus, we're particularly looking at the companies working on the green transformation, clean tech, and mobilities, which are actually our focus industries, just we discussed before in the previous episode. And more specifically for this cohort, we are interested in areas like smart buildings, waste management, and automations based on some needs. However, we are not strictly limited to these fields. If your technologies or solutions align with our ecosystems, we'd love to hear from you. As we mentioned in the previous podcast episode, Yokohama is home to a wide range of industries, making it an ideal place for the various businesses to thrive. As for the stage of companies, we welcome startups at the various stages of development. That being said, having a working prototype and ideally some test cases in other markets will certainly help make the matching process more effective. Regarding location, there is no requirement for companies to be based in Yokohama at the time of application, but we expect the applying companies to show the intention to establish a base in Yokohama within around 3 years. That said, though, I shouldn't say this too loudly, but this isn't strict commitment. So we understand that business expansion takes time and flexibility. So lastly, since this program is a public initiative led by the city government, there is no cost to participate. So we are looking for innovative companies eager to expand the business in Japan, and we're excited to support them through this program.
Understood. Just to clarify, when you say no cost to participate, however, the startups are still going to be responsible for travel, like the cost of traveling to Japan or traveling within Japan, accommodation, or like lodging when they are in Japan, correct?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that question, actually, and a clarification. Yes. We expected the companies to burden some cost, if necessary, to do some POCs or to come to Japan to have a business, meetings or something. But we might be able to help these companies by providing the networking. Supporters who may be able to support some fundings and grants, depending on what kind of programs that we're working on together.
Wonderful. So, it sounds like the program could potentially connect with possible funding support, possible resource support, who can actually facilitate these conversations between the startup and some of the Yokohama companies. And you even said that there's no specific criteria except maybe that intention to build a presence in Yokohama in the next 3 years or so.
Right.
To be honest, all that sounds super generous. Maybe almost too open and generous. But look, every city is different. And I've known Yokohama historically to be a very open city. So that makes sense to me. But with that said, I'm very curious to know what are some of the motivation behind such an openness with respect to this program.
Well, I'm glad that you think it is. We're trying hard to make it a really accessible program, and working within our limitations as a local government. As Masa said, we have to include some clause about including interest in establishing a base in Yokohama. That's sort of our requirements. But really, it's just the openness to that idea. But it's really not a program that's limited to Yokohama. Yokohama is a very international city, as we touched on in the last episode, and we want to carry that into the future. And we are in sort of a unique position of having this office in Yokohama City has an office in New York that Masa and I work in. Not many Japanese cities have an office, like an independent office in America. So we're in this unique position of having a bridge to connect companies to Japan, and we want to take advantage of that and make that happen with this program. And it's also worth noting that, of course, we would love to see these connections happen with Japanese companies that are based in Yokohama, but ultimately, it's really about finding the right fit for the international companies that are applying to get into Japan. And our partners have a wide network in Japan outside of Yokohama as well. So of course we'll try to connect them to Yokohama if we can, but if there's a better fit elsewhere, we'll make that connection too. We have strong networks in like the Kansai area. So really it's like you will get the best connection for your company.
Yeah, that's way too generous, but I think founders will appreciate that, right? Because for some companies, for some companies, the Kanto region where Yokohama is based out of, or what Tokyo and Yokohama is located, Kanto region may not be the best fit, if you will, in terms of business. So I think it's great that you have that option open.
Yokohama is still the second biggest city in Japan. It has all the attractiveness that we described in the last episode. But ultimately, we want to help international companies connect to Japan. And if that can happen in Yokohama, awesome. But we just want to make sure that this program is a success so we can keep doing it and make those connections happen. Yeah.
So this all sounds really amazing. And for the founders, the entrepreneurs who are listening, let's talk a little bit more about the application process. But if you see an application that has gibberish on it, I apologize because I just wanted to go through the flow and see it myself. It's a 4-step process. It's super simple. Like if any founder or entrepreneur has applied to external programs or funding, they have all this information, right? So it's like company information, contact person, business overview, pitch deck, etc. But one thing that was really unique to your application for the matching program was the proof of concepts or the experiments that you wanted the startups or the entrepreneurs to add, and also the collaboration types that you wanted them to give you as an input. Can you talk about both those questions, the proof of concept, maybe what are some of the previous ones that you've seen? And then for the collaboration type, what are some of the more common ones that are requested?
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely talk about that. And it's good to know. Thank you. I was wondering why there was a company that had applied that was like they'd mashed their face on their keyboard. That's you. Good to know. Okay. But no, so like I mentioned, so we run this program in the past, last year, and we had a cohort of 3 companies that applied. And so, we were working with those companies right now to put on POCs in Japan. We had a company from the US that was doing occupancy sensors, like human sensors using thermal signals and technology, doing a proof of concept on that. A German company sort of working on accurate landing and charging infrastructure for drones in the city. And then a company from Malaysia doing autonomous robot delivery systems. So those are like last year's cohort, but Yokohama has a long history of doing POCs and enabling POCs with international companies. In the past, we worked with a US company called TerraCycle that ended up doing some experiment testing of recycling projects in Yokohama, which was pretty cool. There's these very popular like jelly pouch drinks that you can get at convenience stores in Japan, and there's no good way to do anything with that container. It's like kind of a vinyl little pouch. And so this company was working to recycle those. And the same with like a medicine pill blister pack. We were working with them to do like recycling tests for that, which was really cool. And there's like there's a lot of examples of previous POCs that have happened. So if that's, what your company needs to establish trust to start working in Japan, establish your technology works in the Japanese market or environment, that's something that we can absolutely work to help enable. And in terms of like what the Japanese companies that we're working with are looking for, it changes really. I mean, there are so many companies in Yokohama, so many opportunities for business partners, but it is worth mentioning that on the application page, we mention that some of the specific needs that we've heard recently from Yokohama companies include the focus on smart building technology, a focus on like waste management companies and technology in that space, and then like automation. Those are some needs that we've heard recently. So as we're looking at the applicants for this cohort, we'll be keeping an eye out for those. But like Masa mentioned, there's opportunities outside of that as well.
Thank you both for your time. Before we end the show, Masa and Nikolai, do you have any announcements or events from your side?
Yeah, thank you. Maybe let me answer that questions. Do some announcement. So we have several exciting events from Yokohama. So first and foremost, don't miss out on that Yokohama Matching Programs. The application deadline is the end of April. So I believe this would be the great opportunities for companies considering expansion into Yokohama and Japan. So just as we shared today. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact us anytime. And secondly, we also have the Deep Tech Forum Yokohama, which will take place on March 7th, Friday. This event is organized by the Monozukuri Venture, a Japan-born VC with offices in Kyoto, New York, and Toronto. And this event is also officially supported by the city of Yokohama. It will be held at the Tech Hub Yokohama, a key innovation space in the city. And we highlighted that space in the previous episode. The forum will connect deep tech innovators and investors with a strong participation from the Japanese corporations in climate tech and manufacturing mainly. And beyond Yokohama, so if you are looking to engage with the broader Japanese startup ecosystem, I highly recommend checking out the Sushi Tech Tokyo. It's Tokyo, but one of the Japan's largest startup conference happening in May. As we introduced in the 3 Eyes framework, with the ideal location, Yokohama is just about 30 minutes by regular train from Tokyo, making it an excellent destination for an excursion during a stay time in Japan for the conference.
It's also worth noting that even though the name is Sushi Tech Tokyo, it's not about sushi, the food. It's spelled like that. It's not. It's a tech conference.
Yeah. I do not remember well, but maybe sustainable technology or something like that. So you can refer it later. Yeah. And on top of that, special for this year, you should consider the Osaka Expo running from April to October to visit Japan, since it is a major and unique international event where countries and companies from around the world will come together to showcase cutting-edge technologies, innovation, and culture. So I've also heard that there will be a major startup-focused event in the fall, but I shouldn't say this too loudly again, since it's not confirmed yet. And again, since there are no direct flight to Osaka from the many international locations, so visitors will likely transit through the Tokyo area, making it a great opportunity to visit Yokohama as well. And please do not forget, in 2027, we will have another expo in Yokohama, Green Expo 2027. And there are many more projects in the works, and we look forward to sharing updates with you soon. Yeah.
Awesome. Many events already planned in Yokohama as well as throughout Japan for startup founders excited for the Japanese market. And Yokohama, as Masa just mentioned at the end, is really on the way to any other parts of Japan for most parts of Japan, whether it's by Shinkansen, which is the bullet train, or even as a layover in Haneda, in case those of you who fly into Haneda. Literally, I think Yokohama is a 30-minute train ride. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's 30 to 20 minutes,
exactly. Yeah. So I think it's a great stop. They have great food, international food, scenery as well. So I would highly recommend visiting, even if it's a 2-hour visit during the layover. So yeah, with that said, thank you very much to our guests, Masa and Nikolai from the Yokohama, New York office. And
thanks so much for having us.
Thanks for listening in. For those who want to get more info or have questions, please contact any of us from the info on the screen. Last but not least, we would appreciate you answering a quick survey with just a few questions in order to make improvements to this podcast in the future. Thank you.